The whole body is swathed with wide vines that are similar to seaweed. Its vines shake as it walks. How did you know about that? Yui asked. I don't know. I just saw 2 tentacles around my body. I saw them in my hand before. She looked around, trying to gather information from the vines. How did you know? Shizuki asked. You didn't. Yui was shocked. Shizuki and the others didn't know it yet, but the vines seemed like they were trying to tease. And that's where the auto-generation ended. I mean, I know where this is going. Alright, we're going to the next entry. On the desk there is my invention, the Pokedex. It automatically records data on Pokemon you've seen or caught. It's a high-tech encyclopedia to make a complete guide on all the Pokemon in the world. That was my dream, but I'm too old. I can't get the job done, so I want you two to fulfill my dream for me. Get moving, you two. This is a great undertaking in Pokemon history. A great undertaking? I don't know, that sounds like a lot of work. I got a better idea. Well, hello, and welcome to my Pokemon lab. So it turns out we don't actually have to bother with any of that adventuring stuff, because the Pokedex entries, well, they're all online. But we can't just copy the homework, right? I mean, you wouldn't just put Kanto in every single region. You gotta at least attempt to change it, right? That's what Galarian Rapidash over here thinks. So, we're gonna let the AI add a little bit of extra spice to some of these Pokedex entries. Alright, Dex number 1, Bulbasaur. I have the vanilla Pokedex entry from Red and Blue right here in the text editor, and I haven't actually, experimented with this before, so I don't really know what's gonna happen. I don't think we're gonna do every single one of the 151 Pokemon, but I think we'll at least aim for one from each evolutionary family. I might change my mind as the video goes along, but for now, that's how we'll start out. Okay. Number 1, Bulbasaur. A strange seed was planted on its back at birth. The plant sprouts and grows with this Pokemon. The leaves of the seed are called Carnage. In this photo taken on September 14th, 2014, the Pokemon is presented in a box. Photo by Alex Martinez of the Washington Post. Okay, there you go. Totally accurate information for Bulbasaur. So as you can see, after I press tab, they'll auto-generate 3 potential options. I pick one, and then we chain them together to create a 100% accurate, very factual Pokedex entry. Dex number 2, Ivysaur. When the bulb on its back grows large, it appears to lose the ability to stand on its hind legs. The bulb may have been the first light bulb on a tree, and it has only ever been used in a tree. In fact, in many instances, the bulbs are now in the trunk. The bulb is sometimes used to light a tree in the garden. It's kinda nice. Are there any grass electric types? No, right? We've just discovered the first one. Alright, here's the entry for number 3, Venusaur. But it takes a little while for the AI to actually generate the response, so what I think I'll do is I'll read the vanilla entry. Then I'll close my eyes, and just choose 5 random prompts, and then read that out. Okay, let's try that. So, the plant blooms when it is absorbing solar energy. It stays on the move to seek sunlight. In that scenario, it will use only the amount of sunlight that is necessary for growth to occur. If the plant goes outside and the sunlight is too low, it will get out of control and die. We know that plants have 3 senses, and one of them is heated. That is, when the sun is too hot. Weak to fire. Speaking of fire, here is number 4, Charmander. And let's do a little experiment. So I think of these settings here in the corner, temperature affects the creativity of the program. So how about we turn up the heat, huh? Let's make temperature 2, so we've doubled it from 1. I'm not really sure what 1 meant, so I'm also not sure what 2 means. Let's see how this turns out. If it's a disaster, we'll just go back to 1. So the vanilla entry obviously prefers hot places. When it rains, steam is said to spout from the tip of its tail. What are our fave places to find warm food and shelter for you with good weather gear? Share this! 11th of May, 2015, 1520. What food choices do I need to travel by air as opposed through boat trip when going out during high waves, like my husband and I have spent a trip by the ocean? Why is the wind getting so hot during these low tides when they get warm? Alright, maybe this is a little bit too creative. Let's go back to 1. Number 5, Charmeleon. When it swings its burning tail, it elevates the temperature to unbearably high levels. The blade becomes even more deadly as the blade is thrust into the air by a tremendous blast from its tip. When no one can hear the noise of the explosion, it will erupt uncontrollably. It was never intended to cause death. It was intended to create a life-threatening and unpredictable nightmare, an impossible... Oh my goodness, if this is Charmeleon, what is Charizard? This AI turned Charmeleon into freaking Glavenus. I think that's his English name. I only know it as, Dinovardo. Alright, number 6, Charizard. Spits fire that is hot enough to melt boulders. Known to cause forest fires unintentionally. Pets may also be killed or maimed. Fairy fawns can only be hatched in this world. Drow fawns. These wild and cunning creatures have spent their youth traveling the world searching for a suitable target. These fawn can travel far and wide, and are easy to tame. Okay, so this one changed from Charizard burning everything, including your pets apparently, into some sort of entry about fairy fawns, but also drow fawns? I'm not really sure what happened here. Number 7, Squirtle. And with the fire type, we turned up the temperature. I made it a little bit too creative, but we are trying to make scientific entries, right? So maybe let's try dropping the temperature down to, say, 0.5 and see how that sounds. I'm assuming nobody's gonna get burned or maimed in this one, but I mean, who knows? Alright, here we go. After birth, its back swells and hardens into a shell. Powerful sprays foam from its mouth. Its skin glows with the scent of leaves, a faint but unmistakable smell of fresh air. The tiny creature's eyes are wide, its head is bright blue, and its face is red, with a sharp, sharp edge. Its long, thin tail is covered with sharp, 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 sharp. It's a lot like a human's tail. Okay, so it was a little bit more like a biological entry, but it still ended up being pretty weird. I kind of like this. I think I'll keep the temperature at 0.5 for a little bit. How's your tail, by the way, viewer? Is it sharp? Number 8, Wartortle. Often hides in water to stalk unwary prey. For swimming fast, it moves its ears to maintain balance. The drowsy version of the word drowsy is used in the New Testament to describe the state of mind of a person who is drowsy. The word drowsy has been used in the Bible as a synonym for drowsy. The synonym in the Old Testament as drow or drow. Alright, well, we're kind of jumping the gun here. Drowsy doesn't come up till later. Maybe we need to turn the temperature up a little bit. We'll go ahead and put the temperature up to 0.75, I guess. Or maybe 0.79. That's close enough, right? How can Pokemon be satanic if Wartortle is here teaching me about synonyms in the Bible? Number 9, Blastoise. A brutal Pokemon with pressurized water jets on its shell. They are used for high-speed tackles. It attacks when it is under pressure by holding its breath for a period of time before using its own tail to strike, and it attacks when its breath is not released, but it uses its tail to kick its opponent. The second generation Pokemon was introduced in Generation 2. In the anime, major appearances, a Mew. Okay. Maybe we'll put the temperature back up to 1. Alright, I don't want this video to actually take forever, so I think from now on we're just gonna jump to the final evolution of every family. So up next is Butterfree. In battle, it flaps its wings at high speed to release highly toxic dust into the air. The cloud, which was made of metal atoms, is used to burn gas for energy. After several months, the blast is dispersed by a small number of particles. The researchers say that their experimental technique may shed light on the chemistry of carbon-14 and will be made more accessible to researchers. Hey, it's pretty scientific. I bet Oak will love this one. Also, metal atoms, so Steel and Gen 1 confirmed. It's Beedrill. Almost always worse than Butterfree in the games. Maybe it'll be different here. flies at high speed and attacks using its large, venomous stingers on its forelegs and tail. It takes the form of a humanoid creature or monster that can be used as a ranged combatant or a spellcaster. The latter being a cleric or druid, the former having a greater charisma of what? It can attack using its body and wings, and does not need to be on a creature's feet or feetettes. Alright, so I mean, I guess it's not very good in Pokemon, but if you want to play a D&B, go with Beedrill. What? Okay, Pidgeot. When hunting, it skims the surface of water at high speed to pick off unwary prey, such as Magikarp. At close range, it skims over sandy surfaces to pick up large prey, like the black skate set. The main prey area of this bird is in its natural body part, as it has an active body, called a pump, but not necessarily a body, but still has its own special coral structure where it lays eggs in many places. Nothing suspicious here. Raticate. It uses its whiskers to maintain its balance. It apparently slows down if they are cut off. I'm not sure where this happens or what purpose it serves, but it seems unlikely that the whiskers are kept away from the glass walls of an enclosed room where no light should be. The two-way mirror is a good example of how this glass works, and it might also serve as a way to prevent damage to your eyes. But that is still another topic. Does this have to do with Raticate? Fearow. With its huge and magnificent wings, it can keep aloft without ever having to land for rest. It is highly intelligent as an aircraft, able to detect prey with its gaze. It can fly at over 1,000 miles per hour in an attempt to keep its prey to a distance of 5 miles, and reach speeds greater than 500 miles per hour when in flight. At high altitudes, its aerobatic arm can reach up to 4,000 feet. Whoa, okay, so apparently it's not just a bird, it's an aircraft. It can fly over 1,000 miles per hour, although it also, I guess that is greater than 500 miles per hour. And it tries to stay about 5 miles away from its prey. And once it really gets up into those high altitudes, its arm, apparently, can further extend up to 4,000 feet. This thing is crazy. I think I said in the Fire Red Leaf Green tier list that Dodrio was better. I don't know, this Fearow looks pretty scary. Okay, Charbok. It is rumored that the ferocious warding markings on its belly differ from area to area. In the north, and on the east, we can see a clear picture of a shark with a head of blue and a red snout, but what's more remarkable is its dorsal fins. There is also evidence of a large, curved dorsal fin on its back, which indicates it is being driven at higher speeds. The shark is actually about as big as a human. What about the snake, though? This is about our bug. And we'll do Pikachu, because Game Freak doesn't acknowledge that Raichu exists. Why should I? Here we go. When several of these Pokemon gather, their electricity could build and cause lightning storms. As the battle progresses, a more powerful force is unleashed. The following Pokemon can learn the Psychic ability. Bunado Generation 4, Diamond Generation 5, Pearl Generation 6, XYZ ability Pokedex. Unaware of Psychic, it hides its secrets, so this Pokemon will never use it. Yo, does this thing know that Alolan Raichu is a thing? It's been Alolan Raichu this whole time, but it hides its secrets, so it never uses it. I have no idea what happened in the middle here. Sandslash. Curls up into a spiny ball when threatened. It can roll while curled up to attack or escape. Can also be blocked by some opponents in combination, like this one with its long arms. This is one of those combos that can get you knocked back, but it's nice and easy. Lucky Gimmelang. A card with powerful potential. That's what you'll want. I guess we're now playing, children's card games. Nidoqueen. Its hard scales provide strong protection. It uses its hefty bulk to execute powerful moves. It is able to set off bombs easily, but as the number of enemies increased, the damage of the first set of attack became negligible. The battle in Japan began with the invasion of Japan, and even though the Japanese government was weak, The world's leaders were determined to use force to protect their nation. To protect the world from devastation. Nidoking. It uses its powerful tail in battle to smash, constrict, then break the prey's bones. It's like a super tough and powerful cat, but much stronger. Goblin is a carnivore with a unique design that takes on more power but has more weaknesses. The ability to withstand extreme pain and physical punishment. Unlike most cats, they also have the ability to fight for their life, but they're usually less than human. Okay, so hang on. So it's like a very powerful cat, but it's also a goblin, which has more power, but also more weaknesses. Then they don't list those weaknesses. Then it's back to being a cat, and the entire time, it's been less than human. Okay. Very consistent. Clefable. A timid fairy Pokemon that is rarely seen. It will run and hide the moment it senses people. It will not run until the player has successfully defeated it. A fairy Pokemon is a common Pokemon found in all Pokemon games, and is one of the fastest in the battle, and most likely will take care of the two. The most powerful of the enemies are called Bidoof, and the only way to defeat them involves moving in a circle around them, but it does not matter when you are done fighting. Okay. So apparently fairy Pokemon have been in all the games since the very beginning, and also Bidoof is the strongest Pokemon in existence. I told you guys Bidoof was S tier. Ninetales. Very smart and very vengeful. Grabbing one of its many tails could result in a 1,000-year curse. If I took it with my bare hands, would it stop me from going into some sort of insanity? Or would it cause the cat to fly into an upside-down room to kill everyone on it? Killing everyone on it without saying a word? Or so it felt. But what if I took one of its tails and got a small chunk of its stomach and ate it with it? 1,000 years ago, they would have killed you. Okay. I think like vengeful and 1,000-year is what caused this one to go kinda haywire. Wigglytuff. The body is soft and rubbery. When angered, it will suck in air and inflate itself to an enormous size. It has been nicknamed Chili. The body was discovered by a researcher in 2012 when he uncovered the Chili Eye on his skull. Dr. Simon Wozniak from the Institute for Zoology found that the eye is not only larger than the brain and eyes combined, but its eye was even more flexible. Stuff of nightmares, what? Golbat. Once it strikes, it will not stop draining energy from the victim, even if it gets too heavy to fly. The damage to the body is reduced by 25%. Any damage from your next shot at a monster is instead used to absorb the damage of your attack while under the effect of some kind of special spell. When you cast a spell of this power, you take the damage. Your body is turned to ash as you do this. So we can all be Ash. He is the protagonist after all. Vileplume. The larger its petals, the more toxic pollen it contains. Its big head is heavy and hard to hold up. In addition, a large yellowish-brown coloration can occur along its body with brown markings on each tooth or in large areas along its body and head. After many years of collecting the entire specimen, a thin white disc at some level in the middle of the specimen and the petals around it forms white, pale green, or yellowish streaks. All of this is bad news for the animal they are studying. Oh, sounds like a grass poison type. Pretty good. Parasect. A host-parasite pair in which the parasite mushroom has taken over the host bug. Prefers damp places. Males that have no mate, e.g. the female plant or the male caterpillar, are at risk of infecting the female plant or catter space pillar. See also parasitism. See also parasite. The parasite mushroom has 3 primary functions. Hosts. And I guess that's where it ends. Venomoth. The dust-like scales covering its wings are color-coded to indicate the kinds of poison it has. It appears to be more aggressive and deadly than any other snake the Royal Society has recorded. They have no known antidote, and could be at least twice as likely to become infected in that state as snakes living in a closed, exposed state. The venom may be lethal, but it is not known if it does not cause other problems, such as death. Okay. So it's lethal, but it might not cause other problems, such as death, which is what lethal means. Also, it's both closed and exposed, and a snake, apparently. Dugtrio. A team of Diglett triplets. It triggers huge earthquakes by burrowing 60 miles underground. In this video, the two Pokemon are in danger of getting eaten by a swarm of ants, which are trapped, but Let uses its quick reflexes to stop them. As Diglett gets stronger, these tiny ants eat it from above and attack his team of Diglett, with a powerful attack made to dig them out, while Diglett uses Rapid Spin to attack at least 6 different Pokemon while trying to escape. What a cliffhanger. Does Diglett get away? Wasn't this entry about Dugtrio? Persian. Although its fur has many admirers, it is tough to raise as a pet because of its fickle meanness. It does so much for other creatures that it may not be as well suited to pets as petting it. It gets rid of the teddy bear that can't keep its mouth shut about how it likes to be eaten. It is much better suited in a home where there are many cats with feline-friendly diets. And if there are cats in it, it'll be okay. Golduck. Often seen swimming elegantly by lake shores, it is often mistaken for the Japanese monster, Kappa. The best way to get to know the bird dinosaur is with a visit to a museum. The museum is filled with animal-loving specimens that make fantastic pet birds, and in the same space, it has a dinosaur exhibit. This photo, taken on September 30th. A great blue koala! One of the biggest birds in the park. Are we in a park, or by a lake, or in a museum? Where are we? Primeape. Always furious and tenacious to boot. It will not abandon chasing its quarry until it is caught. He could make his charge, and he would soon kill them before their charge was met by any attack. It would be their end, even if it were an end worth killing. The enemy may think he is a villain, but he is not. He does not go around killing the good guys. He acts as if he doesn't care about them. He's simply following orders, not taking orders. Arcanine, or Arcanine? It's probably Arcanine, right? Because it's like arcane and canine. Alright, Arcanine. A Pokemon that has been admired since the past for its beauty. It runs agilely, as if on wings. Hawk. Nicknamed the Hatchling for his ability to catch other Pokemon along the way, can fly even faster. It has been able to carry a child as well as a Pokemon that's had an incredibly strong bond with nature since youth. This Pokemon shares a very close relationship with the rest of the pack and is thought to also be the last Pokemon. Poliwrath. An adept swimmer at both the front crawl and breaststroke. Easily overtakes the best human swimmers. Has a strong base, which is easily penetrated by the hand of a good jaguar. She has a short-barreled paddle, an elegant and powerful hand-eye coordination, fast swimming, and a very strong form. She is a beautiful person who is a true warrior. She does not make a strong opponent at all. C tier. Alakazam. Its brain can outperform a supercomputer. Its intelligence quotient is said to be 5,000. How did he do that? He took to Pinterest to list his personal interests for his new book. It was the result of more than a year and a half of hard work. At first, he thought that his favorite books would be Dark Knight and White Castle, but that wouldn't take him long to find out which ones he preferred. Machamp. Using its heavy muscles, it throws powerful punches that can send the victim clear over the horizon. It also makes enemies dizzy and nauseous, but in that case, it never has any chance. Anita, the leader of the Dandy, looks back at her husband as he speaks. You are so brave, Anita. Forgive me, but you did the right thing, Anita. And today, you do the right thing. You do what you deserve. Anita smiles. happening? Suddenly we're in like the middle of a soap opera. What's going on? Anita. Victory Bell. Said to live in huge colonies deep in jungles, although no one has ever returned from there. In the jungles, there are only few humans left. The living relatives. The relatives to whom all the fruits of the earth are sold. Some of the people who have been destroyed by the wind. Some who are abandoned by their mothers. And finally, many who have left the village. Many who are no longer alive. Well, this is actually kinda good. This is like an actual story. Wow, this was Victory Bell? What? Tentacruel. The tentacles are normally kept short. On hunts, they are extended to ensnare and immobilize prey. The tentacles are usually found in trees, bushes, caves, fields, or at the edges of buildings. This makes them fairly difficult to spot. Their bodies vary in size from a small scrotum to a huge head with numerous ridges. However, it is said that their size causes them to feel no pain, and to be able to resist all kinds of pain. Golem. Its boulder-like body is extremely hard. It can easily withstand dynamite blasts without damage. Its body is somewhat frail. Its speed is also limited. It only can move quickly on 2 legs. It was originally destroyed by a blow by a rock monster near the end of Chapter 2. Its stats at this point are Attack 38, Attack 13, Defense 20, Magic Attack 26, Magic Defense 25, Accuracy 21, MDef 27, Defense 20, Speed 14, Attack 11. Well, luckily its in-game stats are a little bit better than this. Rapidash. Very competitive. This Pokemon will chase anything that moves fast in the hopes of racing it. If this Pokemon is not using its special moves for something you aren't sure is a good idea, then your Pokemon will run away. There are 4 Pokemon in this game, so the most important is to select any of the 4. The Pokemon in the center of the screen usually has a tail swipe, so use your Pokemon's attack when you can. Slowbro. The shelter that is latched onto Slowpoke's tail is said to feed on the host's leftover scraps. Some have speculated that this is one of those dead fish types, as the animal that rots during the game is found on the other side from the snail. This one also shows something else from a human perspective. If there's any doubt in my mind as to whether Slowpoke, like even a tad bit lazy, is to blame for the stench of the fish, it's a rather difficult one to prove. Magneton. Formed by several Magnemites linked together. They frequently appear when sunspots flare up. The Lithuanian Kirmidas were known as the Gang of Darkness, and also called the Harmony of Darkness, because the Lithuanian Kirmidas were so terrified of sunspot activity that the ruling souls had to use their own energy to bring them down at all costs. The word Lithuan means light, cold, bitter, meaning they are cold, bitter, and bitter. Farfetch'd. The sprig of green onions it holds is its weapon. It is used much like a metal sword. The meat is then placed on a large wooden handle and placed in the center, on the side to make a shield around its right hand, so that the blade is not bent. Once it is on the ground, the head of the sprig is placed back on its feet. The entire sprig is then thrown out and used to stab. Dodrio uses its 3 brains to execute complex plans. While 2 heads sleep, 1 head stays awake. One has mastered an algorithm to turn a living body into an illusion. The other is a new kind of artificial intelligence developed in the same year to use our own memories for new purposes. The technology is being developed by IBM Research and has shown some promise in its effort to make human brains smarter. This is an entry about Dodrio? I guess it's not a bird brain, right? Dewgong. Stores thermal energy in its body. swims at a steady 8 knots, even in intensely cold waters. The world's most advanced lithium-ion batteries are also the most durable. The company is also among the earliest companies to offer battery-based health insurance for its own customers. According to China's Ministry of Science and Technology, a total of 8,200 people in North Korea have already received free of health insurance for 6 months, and the country is scheduled to provide the first ever coverage by 2020. Dewgong's not even in this. So I don't know why we're suddenly in China offering health insurance to the North Koreans based on lithium-ion batteries. Okay. Muck. Thickly covered with a filthy, vile sludge. It is so toxic, even its footprints contain poison. They are so tiny. But what does that have to do with how it works? And why? When it is exposed to a large number of creatures, the poison will only begin spreading. You know, when I was in high school, I could tell that I had already been touched by a powerful and terrifying beast. That's right, one of my fellow students, the Master Sword. Cloyster. When attacked, it launches its horns in quick volleys. Its innards have never been seen. The Horned Devil is a creature of few teeth and can withstand much more than just its bite to cause trouble in other creatures, but is also deadly to human beings who are in close proximity. It can have its prey devour its prey without mercy. Some people have thought this creature is a little dangerous, as it would frighten unsuspecting prey. Not really clear who's getting eaten here. Gengar. Okay, I'm predicting something spooktastic. Under a full moon, this Pokemon likes to mimic the shadows of people and laugh at their fright. If it does, it often hides in the snow or under rocks by the ice. If it keeps its mouth off and doesn't eat anything it hears, it will eat anything you touch, even if it didn't realize it was eating anything. Krause's favorite food is a small red-green-purple pie. If you're near it, this Pokemon will bite its head off and then eat it. A common occurrence when using Pokemon as bait. Alright, it's Onyx! As it grows, the stone portions of its body harden to become similar to a diamond, but colored black. After it is processed, it is used as jewelry and, as one layer of stone, becomes a necklace and ring. It is very useful for use in many different forms. In the hands of the people of the Eastern lands. A very special gift was bestowed on them during their long occupation. Their long-lived, glorious struggle with the devil will show its true colors within this ancient gem. Onyx, the devil? I knew it. The AI knows too. Okay, we're gonna do Drowsy instead of Hypno, just because I think it was Squirtle that went on this crazy tangent about, Drowsy and the Bible, so let's see what it actually thinks about Drowsy. Puts enemies to sleep, then eats their dreams. Occasionally gets sick from eating bad dreams. I love the idea of staying awake, but at the moment of writing this review, I've read almost 1,000 books! I'm so happy to get to finish the final part of this game. I hope you all found the full review, as it's pretty good. So, how much does Dark Sun get done? A whopping 60k per release, with a bit over 1,000 words! Wow, Dark Sun sounds pretty good. Hopefully it's better than Golden Sun Dark Dawn, oof. Kingler. The large pincer has 10,000 horsepower of crushing power. However, its huge size makes it unwieldy to use. Instead, you run it to its doom, holding it and taking cover from its pursuer. I'd also recommend wearing light armor to keep the pincers from getting away, or to avoid getting caught by small projectiles. Note, there are 2 consecutive fights with other pincers before they get to your location. So apparently there's triple battles in Gen 1 with Kingler and each of its pincers. Electrode. It stores electric energy under very high pressure. It often explodes with little or no provocation. It also has a few drawbacks that can make it vulnerable to earthquakes and sea level rise, but not necessarily its worst problem. According to the International Association of Hydrology, the biggest problem for hydrologists in Europe and Japan is to ensure the right level of hydrology for the entire continent. By providing a well-ventilated field, more water is being trapped in the soil to prevent the water from boiling and the temperature of the soil being raised. I think that perfectly describes Electrode, a 140 base speed electric-type Pokemon. Executor. Legend has it that on rare occasions, one of its heads will drop off and continue on as an Execute. But what the hell? No one can have such a thing! This is actually part of the reason that it is called the Execute of Fate, and it's the Execute of Fates, and the reason why the Epicurix of Fate is called Executor. The same name is held by the Omega 4, as well as a handful of other Pokemon with the Aeroplasty of nature. You've heard of omega-3 fatty acids, but what about the Omega 4? Marowak. The bone it holds is its key weapon. It throws the bone skillfully like a boomerang to KO targets. If the Bone Master is killed, the bone will explode, leaving behind a small gash on his face. When he is at his maximum bone strength, his body can barely move, so it is useless as he just shoots. As a secondary weapon, the Bone Master is a unique and dangerous combination of gravity and an explosive combination of power. Yo, this is sick! Can we get a Bone Master Mega Evolution? Whoa! Hitmonlee. When in a hurry, its legs lengthen progressively. It runs smoothly with extra long, loping strides. Its legs, though, stretch down into a wide band of stools with large legs. On the outside of its legs, 2 toes tap, just barely. A long, sharp, thin, soft, hard tongue presses down with its tongue. It grinds her tongue back and forth gently. Her face is a dark red. Her clothes are very short. Only a pair of boots. Alright, we're gonna stop this one right here. Hitmonchan. While apparently doing nothing, it fires punches in lightning-fast volleys that are impossible to see. The weapon's appearance is reminiscent of the Munchkin-style weapon from the Sonic the Hedgehog games, the blue-gray sword of his creator. The weapon resembles a supersonic, having a high beam of light and a large horizontal blade of metal. Like most supersonic weapons, the hammer has 2 horizontal and horizontal axes. Axes? Lickitung. Its tongue can be extended like a chameleon's. It leaves a tingling sensation when it licks enemies. Growth Spurt. After killing one enemy, the enemy will eventually develop a new tongue. It will increase in strength, and when it's reached a height of over 3 meters, it will be invincible all day. After a long time, the tongue will shrink and become useless. So that went like 0 to 100, back to 0. It's become useless. Okay. Wheezing! Where 2 kinds of poison gases meet, 2 coughings can fuse into a wheezing over many years. While all poison gases can be found in one chemical mixture, it is much harder to understand why 2 coughings might combine into a wheezing over much longer than 3K plus or minus, as the molecules are moving through the same molecular interaction paths from one mixture into another. This means that there must be multiple wheezing reactions in the same substance. Rhydon. Protected by an armor-like hide, it is capable of living in molten lava of 3,600 degrees. After many years of battle, the dragon can only be killed by either an opponent or by the combined will of the entire crew. It can regenerate over time to 1 hour, but the duration doesn't seem long enough for it to be dead on any level, or for it to die. However, unlike other monsters, it could cause a major health decrease when killed, or its health will be depleted before you reach its end. But there are numerous methods for this. Chansey. A rare and elusive Pokemon that is said to bring happiness to those who manage to get it. Pokemon are the largest, most powerful, and most useful element in the game, and are a cornerstone to many Pokemon's evolution. Their battle moves are one of the greatest tools used in battle. With over 100 known Pokemon evolved from the same Pokemon when evolved, or acquired from other Pokemon, as well as from a variety of other Pokemon. Each type of Pokemon is unique at its own time, and is likely to evolve from different Pokemon over time. Tangela. The whole body is swathed with wide vines that are similar to seaweed. Its vines shake as it walks. How did you know about that? Yui asked. I don't know. I just saw 2 tentacles around my body. I saw them in my hand before. She looked around, trying to gather information from the vines. How did you know? Shizuki asked. You didn't. Yui was shocked. Shizuki and the others didn't know it yet, but the vines seemed like they were trying to tease. And that's where the auto-generation ended. I mean, I know where this is going. Alright, we're going to the next entry. Kangaskhan. The infant very rarely ventures out of its mother's protective pouch until it is 3 years old. The child needs to be on her own whether it is hungry or thirsty, and the family does not want to feed herself as this is a very high risk of infection. If your baby suffers from this condition, the mother should be hospitalized for at least 1 week before going to the hospital. When do we get an end to this? In this. Seadro. Capable of swimming backwards by rapidly flapping its wing-like pectoral fins and stout tail. Wrist-based swimsuit design provides protection from predators by combining both body and head protection. Huge lift and tremendous breathability. The mixed body swimsuit will not only look great at work, but will also look great on stage. Sea King. In the autumn spawning season, they can be seen swimming powerfully up rivers and creeks. Their fins are made of hardened steel and are able to grow up to 8 feet in length and weigh up to 80 pounds. Fishermen look out for any creatures that approaches the surface, including water creatures or small aquatic birds. The species also have a knack for avoiding predators such as spiders or crocodiles. Starmie. Its central core glows with the 7 colors of the rainbow. Some people value the core as a gem. And then there's the colors of the Star-Spangled Banner. Star-Spangled Banner by Robert Crumb of the National Lampoon Museum is probably one of Crumb's best artworks. A rainbow of rainbow and green-colored stars with golden iridescence. Star that color. Mr. Mime. If interrupted while it is miming, it will slap around the offender with its broad hands. In addition, the criminal can also apply electrical field conductive electrodes using a flexible wire. Such an electrode, which can detect electrical signals and create a shock signal, can provide electricity with a more sensitive, longer range than a typical human hand or a person's fingers. The team of scientists, who are led by Professor John W. Miller from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, said that the application of such devices can greatly reduce human health risk with minimal medical complications. Scyther. With ninja-like agility and speed, it can create the illusion that there is more than one. It can be so powerful that even the strongest ninja can defeat it. This is not that bad. The man nodded to himself, as it was Naruto's dream. The ground shook. The ground shook, and it shook in the opposite direction from the Hokage. The Hokage was a master martial artist, and his skills were beyond him right from the start. Believe it. Evolving to Scizor was a downgrade, guys. How can he become the Hokage without without his speed stat? Jinx. It seductively wiggles its hips as it walks. It can cause people to dance in unison with it. This is nice, she says. It might be nice someday. The girl takes off her sneakers as she gets close, watching as Kiki's hips twitch. Her hands are like ice, and she takes off her shoes quickly. Her eyes move downward, trying to keep her head out of the way. She puts her lips along Kiki's neck. What are you doing? She asks, her tongue tracing along Kiki's throat. Okay, we got the ice part, right? Jinx is an ice type. This literally auto-generated, like, young adult, like, romance novels. We're getting out of this one. Who's next? Electabuzz? Electabuzz. Normally found near power plants, they can wander away and cause major blackouts in cities. These bad boys, which often contain a mixture of drugs and sewage, can be caught even in airports. But the problem is, what is known can easily be mischaracterized. The National Weather Service says that it's generally assumed that these types of storms only occur when there are several nearby areas in close proximity at the same time. In Florida, most of the storm's damage was done by the storm's main storm. Magmar. Its body always burns with an orange glow that enables it to hide perfectly among flames. You do not become aware of the presence of the creature until the player enters the area around the blacksmith. The blacksmith's body has a unique set of unique functions. It will slowly burn until it dies, and if one of the glowing circles is visible. After having extinguished all of its flame, this magical blacksmith explodes with a very large amount of red energy. Pincer. If it fails to crush the victim in its pincers, it will swing it around and toss it hard. In this case, the victim can use a ball from a sling and throw the ball back a little farther. This is a common mistake many victims make when being held in midair. While a ball can reach you, you can either hit the ball right on its head or have it throw off. Tauros. When it targets an enemy, it charges furiously while whipping its body with its long tails. In combat, you may perform a free action to counter its attacks. If you miss or the target fails its dexterity saving throw, your movement stops, even if you had no effect or gained no additional speed on its attack roll. If you took no action. On a successful save, you can fly at an angle of your choosing using your reaction. Ooh, Gyarados. Rarely seen in the wild. Huge and vicious, it is capable of destroying entire cities in a rage. The largest single species of it is a great beast, with a massive body and tail that is much slower, but still capable of crushing whole cities for a short time. The only thing that it does not like is humans, who do not know the difference between a human and a giant, and are therefore not considered for much in this world. Lapras. A Pokemon that has been overhunted almost to extinction. It can ferry people across the water. The legendary Doduo-Gorgon and the legendary Red Dadu will make your fishing days even more memorable. In addition to this, we have our own unique team of volunteers working to find wild Pokemon in the wild, and even a bit dangerous by hunting Pokemon with their Pokeballs. Ditto. Capable of copying an enemy's genetic code to instantly transform itself into a duplicate of the enemy. The user of the new genetic code will then become an undead creature. Each day, the user of Gen X will learn new abilities and traits, and using its newly acquired abilities will give the user some of its natural abilities, but it will not become undead. There are currently no rules for the user to modify or duplicate the user's original genetic code. Okay, so we'll become undead, but we also won't? Gen X? Millennials? What is happening? And we'll do Eevee in addition to the evolutions. Its genetic code is irregular. It may mutate if exposed to radiation from evolution stones. Its genome is highly variable, says Jenna, who was not involved in the study, because in this case, the genes of the genetic code are closely aligned with evolutionary events. The data show that evolution is not an accidental act. It is a normal reaction that evolved when the two things do not cooperate. But Jenna's team also discovered an unusual feature of the DNA called a tetrachromate effect. To be continued, I guess. I wonder what the tetrachromate effect is. Vaporeon. Lives close to water. Its long tail is ridged with a fin, which is often mistaken for a mermaid's. Whales. The giant pomegranate has a long, dark green tail. Turtle. A snake with a large pinkish tip. It has 7 pairs of tail, which are about 13 feet long. It has 2 pairs of eyes, 2 pairs of hindquarters. Some turtles also use their legs for swimming. Jolteon. It accumulates negative ions in the atmosphere to blast out 10,000-volt lightning bolts. This is a form of energy called shooting lightning. The radiation is then spread out like a wave from some object to another object, and all directions being equally affected. For example, if you have 1 ton of hydrogen ions in the air, which is 4% radiation, and you shoot 25,000 lightning bolts with a 2. Flareon. When storing thermal energy in its body, its temperature could soar to over 1600 degrees. The energy in our bodies is more than we have today as a result of that energy burning our own body. The heat from the sun's power is so great that the body's cellar will die off soon. At that point, just as a light bulb dies, a cool air balloon will fly around and start life on Earth. Flareon responsible for the creation of life on Earth? Was he the false prophet? Oh no, now the lore is in question. Porygon. A Pokemon that consists entirely of programming code, capable of moving freely in cyberspace. A Pokemon with extremely strong defensive and offensive stats. Okay, buddy. Capable of making all 3 Pokemon fall asleep and performing some sort of cuddle. A Pokemon of questionable intelligence or combat ability. Not only is his body extremely thin and weak, but his entire body is very hard armored. Alright, who cares about Omastar? We gotta do Lord Helix, right? This is Omanite. Though long extinct, in rare cases, it can be genetically resurrected from fossils. There are 2 types of fossils. Rare vertebrate fossils that could be regenerated after death, like those that are found in the ocean and the body of a crocodile. My goal was to find these fossils. They are rare fossils that have been preserved in a preserved human body. Kabutops. Its sleek shape is perfect for swimming. It slashes prey with its claws and drains the body fluids. This one's gonna be scary. Flesh is covered by a dense membrane that provides a smooth, almost translucent skin. It can swim in a variety of different shapes, from short flowing and slanted to long running and climbing. It's hard to beat when diving deep into seawater, but in the water, the body fluid of the squid, called sac leaks, are absorbed or evaporated, and the squid becomes a fleshy mass of sticky, liquid protein. Doesn't sound like a rock type to me. Aerodactyl. A ferocious, prehistoric Pokemon that goes for the enemy's throat with its serrated, saw-like fangs. These savage, monstrous, pale white, blood-red Pokemon are named for their dark red heads. Cape Fear. Another legendary Pokemon. This fearsome Pokemon possesses a white hair that has the appearance of an eagle's wings, which can fly and even make the air vibrate. This fiery-looking Pokemon is famous for its incredible speed, power, and strength. Wow, Aerodactyl is cool, but this Cape Fear thing sounds even cooler. And not only does it have power, it has strength. Snorlax. Very lazy. Just eats and sleeps. As its rotund bulk builds, it becomes steadily more slothful. Eggs. Its body is very big. It may look like it was put together to eat an egg. Or it may look like it was created by another intelligent life forms. Its limbs are huge. Like a giant ape, it may make out like a human. Its arms are huge. Like a giant snake. Articuno. A legendary bird Pokemon that is said to appear to doomed people who are lost in icy mountains. The creature resembles a bird and is said to be quite weak. Its true purpose is unknown, but as it is a known Pokemon, its name means bird's best friend. Contents show. Appearance edit. The creature makes a long, round body, as well as its eyes and ears are blue and violet, like those of a bird. Zapdos. A legendary bird Pokemon that is said to appear from clouds while dropping enormous lightning bolts. This Pokemon is said to always hold an orange ball. Due to its incredible power and speed, it is considered the strongest flying Pokemon in the game. In other languages, language titled Chinese Cantonese, I can't read that, Dao by Vietnamese. I'm sorry. Alright, Moltos. Known as the legendary bird of fire, every flap of its wings creates a dazzling flash of flames. Its body is covered in tattoos, marking its location on the globe. George W. Bush's portrait of Osama bin Laden, SRC. Aperture is located in the east part of the capital, Islamabad. At sunset, the area of the city is obscured by clouds of smoke. I mean, well, okay, some parts of this are kind of relevant to Moltos. I mean, we got the bad part. It's definitely bad. And I guess clouds of smoke implies fire type. I don't know what happened here, though. Dragonite. An extremely rarely seen marine Pokemon. Its intelligence is said to match that of humans. It is usually referred to as the Ice Queen, and usually has several personality traits. It's quick, energetic, and agile. The water type is not named. The Japanese say it's a little girl. The Luna also indicates it's little man. One of the strongest moves is its strong tail. Mewtwo. It was created by a scientist after years of horrific gene splicing and DNA engineering experiments. The researchers believe it offers the first viable evidence of how DNA changes its properties in order to form new molecules. The genes that generate proteins are called dungeons. They have been known to evolve the properties of DNA and have been implicated in cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and other diseases. And finally, 151, Mew. So rare that it is still said to be a mirage by many experts. Only a few people have seen it worldwide. Some observers think that the world's leading expert on UFO sightings is Professor Peter Lippmann from the University of Warwick in England. Professor Lippmann, a professor and researcher studying the phenomenon and other phenomena in the UFO community, has written a book entitled Mild UFOs. Why are we still hearing about FUFOs? The book is entitled The Unclear Role of UFOs in American UFO Conspiracy Theories, and is available online below. Okay, well that's most of the Pokedex. How about we report back to Professor Oak and see what he thinks about our research. Alright, Professor, what do you think?
What? What the f-
Hey, thanks for watching this really weird video all the way to the end. It was both really long and really different from the sort of content I normally make, so if you're listening to this, congratulations on being one of the few to survive the experience. Please let me know in the comments if you enjoyed the video, if you'd like to see more installments of this in the future, or if you'd like me to switch up the format a little bit, if you want me to do every single Pokemon, or maybe skip more than I did. If you enjoyed the video, perhaps consider sacrificing 25% of your HP to set up a substitute. I'm saying please subscribe. And if you really liked the video and you happen to be made of Pokedollars, perhaps consider evolving into a mighty Patreon. If you currently are a Patreon, you should see your names on screen now. Thank you guys so much for your support. It's why I'm able to sort of experiment with wacko videos like this one. Thank you to everybody who watches my content, as always. And hopefully I will see you in the next video, which I imagine will be a little less loopy than this one. Thank you, and see you next time.